Hi there. Happy noon hour, everybody. I'm Bill Warner with Ontradot. Glad to see you today. Yesterday, Wednesday, I did a video on proposals. A proposal being kind of the culmination of all of the work you did to work with a customer, going through your sales pitch, handling objections, explaining things and answering their questions. And at the end of the meeting, they sounded interested in what you're doing, and you offered to make a proposal. So what I did in that video is go through and a little bit of detail how you put one together and what the essential elements are. But before I go into that, excuse me. Before I go into that, I want to introduce you to the YouTube channel, Ontradot's YouTube channel, and invite you to subscribe. There's this whole series on winning through excellence in sales that I think you'll enjoy. There are many other playlists as well about leadership, management, how to start a company, how to finance a company, even better than that. And many others. There's about 40 playlists encompassing some 400 and some odd videos. So I've been at this a while. There's a lot there. But the playlists really guide you to the subject that you really want to talk about. So please subscribe, and as you're there and as you're viewing here, give me your comments. I'll be glad to talk about it. But it's the Ontradot YouTube channel. Please subscribe. So let's get on into this. The proposal is almost to the end. You haven't closed yet. You've laid the final mile, the last mile, like in communications talk, the last mile of the journey to close a deal. That's proposed. The next step is going to be you're going to negotiate this. Don't think for a minute they're just going to accept what you said and go and say have a nice day and sign your sales contract. There's going to be a negotiation involved. I'm doing the video tomorrow, Friday, on negotiation, so watch for that. But in the proposal, of course, the first thing you need to talk about is the need you're fulfilling. This is the culmination of all of what you've learned about your markets and the market that this customer is in particular, what you've learned from your market survey work, what you've learned from the discussion you had in your sales meeting with this customer. All of that now adds up to your understanding of the needs that they have for a solution to those needs. You're going to reflect that in the first few paragraphs. It may take you a couple of pages, but you need to get across that you understand their needs and you can write it down so they understand it in their language, expressed in the terms of the magnitude of this need. So you want that section of your sales pitch to resonate clearly with them, totally with them. And once you establish the needs, from all this work you've done, you now spring on them the details of your solution. You told them in an overview kind of way already in the sales meeting, and you explained how it worked, the benefits to them, and all those kinds of things. And you'll say that again in the solution section. But you're going to talk about the details of your products, whether it's hardware or software, or anything else you're delivering. I'm kind of a software guy, so I talk this way. I'm sorry. But you want to relate to the customer the features of the products that address the needs of the customer. Also, your hardware and software products could come with professional services of some kind for installation, for ongoing support, a call-in support, that kind of thing. So you want to get across both of what you're offering, products and services, and guess what? Services after that. Support service, I mean. Online, chat, call-in, email. You've seen this on people's websites every day, I'm sure. You go to almost the last page of the website. No, how you contact us if you need any help. A big differentiator for you could be the level of support you provide customers. It might be a tie on products and services, but by God, you're going to help them a lot. But don't go broke doing it. There's a lot of ways to do support efficiently. Subject for another day. But you want to get across your solution. You got it? Completely and compellingly, and answering the needs that they said they had. It's all got to kind of hang together. Then you can spring on the great news of when you're going to deliver it. You're going to show a timeline. The culmination of the timeline is that date in the future, buffered up appropriately because things always go wrong in deliveries, but you're going to give them a commitment. That's what this is, a timeline commitment on when you're going to deliver the product and services and service and all of this. It may come in steps. Some of these projects could be very complicated in that you're going to stage the delivery of it. So you talk about the staging and when that will occur, what they will have at each stage along the way. Ending up at the end of it all, they've got it all, it's all tested, and it works, and the support structure is in place as you committed it. So you're going to have to give them dates because they're going to want to have ongoing status reviews with you, where you're going to say how we're doing on this project, and you're going to break the good news that we're on schedule or the bad news that we're not on schedule, or they tell you we need 14 more things that we forgot about. Then you're going to have to deal with that. That's a subject for another video as well, but there's ways to deal with it. I'll give you a secret. The answer is always yes. The question is when and how much. Just remember that. Future video on how to say yes to unreasonable requests. So that's what's going to go on in the timeline discussion. Then you break the really good news is how much you're going to charge them. It's pricing. So in your pricing, I shouldn't assume anything. You should have a rationale for whatever the price of the software is and how it's paid for, any services that you're going to be offering and how that's paid for and how it's broken down over time, what they get for it, which matches what you told them in your solution. But pricing is a pretty complicated subject. So you got to make sure everything is covered. Like in services, make sure you've covered the performed services done by people, whether they're implementing something or installing something or putting a piece of hardware together for them, whatever that is. If it's like consulting services, any form of service offering that is really people, there's no hardware or software, maybe some software tools that we take off the shelf and use. But if you're an accountant, you're in legal, you're a business consultant, anything like that, where services are involved, make sure that you cover all of the time that your consultants are going to be spending, plus any management time that you may have in managing the customer relationship and things like that. Make sure all the time that's being spent is getting paid for somehow. Anybody works on this project's got to get paid for because their time's being used by a customer. So that's it on the pricing, but make sure you also specify your payment terms. So you're probably going to say some amount of money invoiced at the end of the month to be paid in the next 30 days. That's pretty typical. Now you might want to press it and say next 2 weeks. You may want to press it a little bit more and say I want a certain amount the first of the month to be paid, the rest to be paid by the middle of the month. Quite frankly, what you want to have happen is that you get payments as soon as possible. You think about cash flow. The sooner you get the money, the more money you're going to have to pay the people that are going to do all this work, so you don't run out of money waiting forever to be paid. So you spend, and you don't have money coming in, you may run out of money. It's the bane of small businesses and startup software companies and services companies. A service company is easy to start if you get money up front, which often occurs. So make sure you're keeping your eye on the ball on what the payment schedule means to your own cash flow. Then you do all the paperwork of literally creating a contract, sales contract. And it contains all of this information I just went through, plus a lot of other legal gobbledygook. But it's pretty important. Things like the confidentiality clause of a contract, in terms of you're holding each other to a confidentiality agreement. You cover ugly things like breach of contract, if they breach or if you breach, and the repair schedule that you try to work out with them. There are many more. What if the company goes out of business? Who gets what? There's this force majeure clause. I don't know. I think that's French. I don't know. But it means if the world comes to an end, what happens then? You know, hurricane hits and you're out of business for 6 months. What happens to the contract? And the list goes on. Lawyers could put all this together. But once you've got a pretty solid sales contract template that probably will work with all of your customers, use it. Just simply, for the next customer, use the same boilerplate, but add in all the content we just got through discussing. So there you go. That's all about putting together a thorough proposal. So I want you to work hard on your thorough proposal, and hope your customers are happy with your thorough proposal. And while they're happy and you're happy, you will have a great day.